Well, good Tuesday afternoon, everybody. Meteorologist Greg Majestic back with you here in the North Georgia Majestic Studios with your weather update here on your July the 21st, 2026. Well, thanks for wrapping up here on our Tuesday on a pretty good note. Sunshine, had a few more clouds than what was expected, but overall not bad. Rain activity pretty limited for today, but that's going to change. We've got a cold front that's going to kind of stall across our area and kind of enhance our rain threat here going into the weekend for parts of North Georgia. And we also have the latest on now officially Tropical Storm Bertha in the Northern Gulf. I want to show you what's happening with the system and why it will probably never become a hurricane. I'll give you the latest details on that here in just a second. Now, before we get into this full report, if you're new here to our YouTube channel and you live anywhere across North Georgia, let me introduce myself as your personal weatherman. I'd love for you to hire me as I'm on a mission to build a professional 24-hour channel that includes video cameras, professional weather equipment, the works. But it's all about subscribers, my friend. So please subscribe to the channel and make sure you hit that notification bell to be alerted on all our weather updates. All right, let's get into today's report, shall we? As we take a live look there into Dahlonega. As you can see, we got a lot of clouds, kind of a partly sunny to mostly cloudy type day really shaping up here for this afternoon there in Dahlonega, as well as in outside my backyard here in Braselton, Georgia. Not much of a wind out there, and temperature's still warm. I'm still sitting at 90 degrees here in Braselton right now here in my backyard weather station. Looking at the current radar, we're quiet here for the moment, not seeing anything. Again, I wouldn't rule out an isolated shower or two. We knew it was going to be low. We do have this activity here from our tropical storm down in the Gulf. It's kind of moving to the north there. We'll see how far that gets as far as getting into the southern portion of metro Atlanta here for later this afternoon. Looking at current temperatures, warming up nicely, already into the mid-80s for a lot of folks. We'll have some 90s out there for some folks as well for this afternoon. And again, kind of a steamy afternoon to say the least. So those overnight lows tonight are probably going to be up a degree or two for a lot of locations as that humidity is definitely on the rise right now. Now, as we take a look at our regional radar, again, you can kind of see what's going on with the bigger picture. Again, we got our swirl, our tropical system out here, poorly organized. You see some of these little feeder bands on the outside. What's going on with this system is we've got basically a northeasterly wind blowing over the top of this thing. And one thing tropical systems do not like is high upper level winds. Again, it's a big heat engine, and that heat's got to flow through the top and for the thunderstorms to be on top. And we're just not getting that. In fact, when you look at the satellite picture, you continue to see an exposed center of circulation right there. All the heavy thunderstorms are down here toward the south as we're dealing with these upper level winds. So, and those winds are expected to increase here in the next day or so. So the trend is for this storm to weaken. And I'll tell you, the water temperatures out ahead of this thing where it's moving toward is like 90 degrees. If it wasn't for that wind shear, we would probably see the storm really blow up and intensify very rapidly. But that looks like that's not going to be the case. As you look at the tropical track there, again, top sustained winds here at 60 miles per hour as of the 2 o'clock update here. Again, not expected to become a tropical a hurricane at this point. And by the time it gets over here near Houston, it'll be back down to a tropical depression, whatever's left to it at that point, with only 30 mile per hour winds as this moves into Texas. And I'm praying that doesn't dump too much rainfall over there for areas that got flooded last week. So our rain problem here, though, we are going to have some heavier rains in here for tomorrow. We could see some isolated pockets of some heavy rainfall. I'm going to show you the latest rapid refresh on that as far as where some of the heavier rains could potentially fall in our area. But it looks like that rain threat's going to decrease, but stay around for a little bit. As we go into your Thursday, it kind of shifts down to the south here a little bit as we go into that day. And then going into Friday, again, just kind of backs off a bit. Low percentage, a level 1 there for excessive rainfall, and that continues into Saturday. But you can definitely get the trend here that we're definitely looking wetter as we wrap up the rest of this week. Now, as far as severe weather is concerned, this is, I think, going to be mostly for tonight if we get any storms on the tail end of a complex storm system that's moving up to the north to kind of trail in an isolated storm or two. I really don't think it's going to be a big deal. Let me pull back out here. See what I'm talking about. Look at this big complex of enhanced severe weather here across the mid-Atlantic northeast, stretching back in toward Kentucky. Again, we'll see if any of those storms on the tail end of this thing kind of sneak in North Georgia or not. But for the most part, I think we're going to stay on the dry side with this one. Now, as far as tomorrow's concerned, let's take a look at that. Day 2, a general thunderstorm threat there. Really, maybe extreme eastern Rabun County, maybe getting clipped there with that, with a marginal risk. And then day 3, it kind of shifts to the south as that boundary begins to shift to the south. All right, let's go look at our forecast model here as we got this going on through. Let me let this loop all the way through here so you can kind of get an idea what's going on here. As we're going to be basically dealing with the frontal boundary, it's going to kind of stall across the area. So there you go. We're watching our tropical system there to the south. Okay, there's our tropical system. Continue to move to the west. And up here, you see that frontal boundary coming in. Here comes the frontal system coming into the south. And again, you got some pretty good thunderstorms in there. And notice it falls apart before it comes into North Georgia. So The rapid refresh says, don't worry about it. We're not going to have anything there. That's why I'm not overly concerned about any severe weather for tonight. This little ball, whatever's left of the storm, is going to continue to move off toward the west there and move to Texas there. Now, this begins to look like it starts to get organized again here at the end. I don't think that's going to be the case here, because I think when it gets about over in here in Louisiana, the winds might really tear the crap out of this thing as this goes on by. So this is going to go into Texas with a moisture and then move on out of here. Then we still got that one frontal boundary, then another one kind of sneaks in there. That's going to keep us unsettled here for the rest of the week. So let's go look at our weather maps here again as we got this kind of looping on through. You're going to notice, again, that frontal system kind of coming in North Georgia and stalling. Okay, so with that stalled front in the area there and the real tropical air mass there, we're going to keep that rain threat up here going into the weekend. And then as we go into early next week, I think we begin to clear out and begin to warm back up again as we go into the next week and early next week. All right, so forecast looking like this here for tomorrow. Rain chance coming up to about 50-60% there. Temperature 90-75, so definitely very balmy there in the morning, and scattered storms there into the afternoon for your midweek forecast. Looking at your regional perspective, again, everybody's temperatures overnight might be up a degree or two. So just an indication of the humidity and the moisture in the air being a little elevated, to say the least there. And as we go into your tomorrow afternoon period here, again, looking at mostly upper 80s, maybe some low 90s here around for the most part. But again, we're looking at what looks to me like a typical summertime day there for tomorrow with scattered showers and thunderstorms. And then going into your Thursday morning here, again, we'll see temperatures here mostly holding in the mid-70s with low 70s up into the mountains. Regionally looking like this. Again, we're looking at temperatures there into the 90s or so, and upper 80s around. So again, we're going to be seeing some of that typical summer weather. You see the temperatures down here because of the tropical influence there with the showers and storms coming in out of the Gulf. And the next 7 days, we're going to watch this very carefully. Obviously, we've got some pretty decent rains coming in there on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. And that comes up again on Saturday with another system coming down. Then we tend to try to dry out as we go into next week. So, again, my main concern for next week, for this week's going to be basically what kind of rains we're going to get out of this. And I do want to show that. Almost forgot to show this. So we'll make sure I get this in real quick, is the rainfall totals here real quick. So let me show you this. As, again, you see these rainfall totals pretty impressive here. When I saw 7 inches left near LJ, I'm not saying you're going to get that LJ, but it gets the point that these are going to be some pretty good heavy rain makers here. Probably not moving all that fast either here. So we're going to watch closely for the potential for some heavy rains here over the next day or so. So with that being in mind, it's the best thing for you to do is download our weather app. Go ahead and download that. Make that part of your toolbox there. You can find it at the Apple Store and at Google Play. Just put in North Georgia Majestic Weather. You can download that or scan the QR codes. Great weather apps can alert you when there's rain approaching area, lightning nearby, hour-by-hour forecast. Obviously, be alerted for severe weather, as well as a future cast. You can kind of get an idea where that radar is heading. And this, of course, sponsored by our weather app sponsor, Roof It Forward out of Woodstock, Georgia. They're one of the best premier roofing companies in North Georgia. They do great quality work, great craftsmanship, and they give a portion of every job back to local children's charities. Some $600,000 plus they've given back to local children's charities. So it's great to have them as a weather app sponsor. All right, that's it for today. Again, we'll be watching closely to see how these thunderstorms evolve coming down, what kind of heavy rain potential we may have here going for the next couple of days. But it does look like we're going to get a little bit of a break as far as the temperatures are concerned. Won't be quite as hot because of the rain there, for obviously, but then we'll warm back up next week. Again, I appreciate you guys checking us out here on the channel. Make sure you hit that subscribe button on YouTube here and hit that notification bell so you're alerted on all our weather updates. All right, you guys be good, stay safe, and we'll see you tomorrow on the next update. Until then, you guys enjoy the rest of your day. Bye-bye.